Hello everyone, my name is Rachel and I am currently sharing my IUI journey. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what our fertility specialist recommended as our protocol for our very first IUI and really our first treatment at all for infertility. In my previous videos, I've kind of talked about leading up to this point. Basically, my doctor had said once my cycle started in August for me to just call the office and they would kind of give us the rundown of what we're gonna have to do and then we would get started. So my cycle did end up starting not long after the last video was filmed. And once I called the office, basically our protocol was that we were going to do 2.5 milligrams of letrozole. So we were doing like a medication induced IUI. So I started that on this past Saturday, and today I think I'm doing 6 days of letrozole. I started taking the medication on cycle day 3, and then it'll go until cycle day 8, I believe. 8, yes. That's like the off-brand name for Femera. So if you've heard of those terms, most of the time you'll either have that option or Clomid. I am really thankful that I've done letrozole because I have heard some other different types of side effects that a lot of people have if they do Clomid. And if you want to just research that, the differences between the two, it is pretty interesting. I'm not saying either one is better. I don't think that. I just was kind of hoping to do letrozole just because of what, like some of the side effects that Clomid tends to have. So today, so tomorrow will be my last day on the letrozole. And as an update, I really haven't had any symptoms from, or I guess side effects from the medication. The only thing that I have noticed is if I take the medication, I've been taking it between 8:30 and 9 every day in the morning. And I notice if I don't eat something for breakfast, either right after I take it or before or around the time that I take it, I will get pretty nauseous, and I have had like headaches. And I've noticed that both of those side effects are likely just from what I've kind of researched from the medication. But other than that, I've not really had any side effects or anything that's been difficult to deal with or anything like that, or nothing that I've recognized anyways. So now that I have begun the medication, another thing that I had to order, which it has not come in yet, is Avidril. So basically, I think it's like a trigger shot. I just know that it's like a shot that they have to do like right when you're ready to, I guess, to tell your body to ovulate. I honestly don't really know. So do more research on that if you're curious what that is. I will probably look it up before it happens. And once I get it, you know, I'll kind of look more into it. But right now at this point, I'm pretty sure it's like a trigger shot. But anyways, so that usually comes from a specialty type pharmacy. So I have ordered that and it's supposed to be here in a couple days. So on cycle day, so right now I am cycle day 7. On cycle day 12, I do have to actually go to the office and have an ultrasound done. And they will basically just check and see if I have any follicles, and then if the medication works, if I'm ovulating, all that kind of stuff. And then they said I would likely, if everything looks good, they said I will likely have the shot. They'll do the shot while I'm there. So that means, from what I understand, that once they do the shot, you have to have the procedure within 24 to 36 hours. So if all goes well, this Monday I will have the ultrasound and the shot, and then either Tuesday or Wednesday will be the actual procedure, which is crazy. So at this point, I really still feel great. I really feel positive and hopeful that this procedure will work. I have, if you've not watched any of my other like TTC and infertility type videos, you all will know that I have had a few different times in my journey where I have prayed for God to give me signs. Honestly, the first major sign that I had came after me listening to Gabby Bernstein about signs, and before that I was never really aware, or I guess I didn't really pay attention to that. And once I listened to her, and she also went through infertility, it's like so much in my journey has changed just by like accepting that God and the universe is like talking to you with signs, and like her book and how she says it has your back. I'm not going to tell the whole story. I'll link that video down below so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But anyways, I feel like I am getting a few signs, and to me they have been very obvious, and so it makes me so hopeful that this, like what we're doing is right, and that it is going to work. I'll tell you the two big things that have happened, which they all kind of link together in a way. So it's so funny how this all works, and I just don't think that it can be ironic. So once we had our first appointment with the fertility clinic, or the fertility specialist, I had really started praying, and just praying that we would be able to do something, and that if this is what I was feeling was right, and that whatever we decided to do, that I would be at peace with it. Okay, so then we go to the appointment, and then we do all the follow-up like I've talked about in the other videos, and I really felt at peace with the decision to move forward with this treatment. After I kind of felt at peace with it, I started to pray that God would just give me another sign that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and just to comfort us and prepare us for either outcome. And just know that, I really, even though I felt at peace that this was the right decision and that this is what I wanted to move forward with, I was just looking for a sign. Like, I just prayed, I was like, God, please give me the sign that this is, what we're supposed to be doing. And so I'd been praying that, and then, I kind of, like, I never saw the sign or whatever, like, I never felt like I had a sign, and then I kind of just, like, didn't think about it. And then I was on my way to work, and I was trying to find a podcast. And I have a few different ones like listed, and I listened to like a finance podcast, and then I was like, I really want something different. I don't want to listen to finance. I really want something uplifting and motivating. And so I happened to look, I have like Mallory Irvin's podcast listed, but I hadn't really listened to most of them like in a long time. I really hadn't. So I just thought, I'm going to check on there and see if there's any of them that catch my attention, might be something that I want to listen to. I go to her podcast, and I want to find, well, I wanted to actually tell you what it was, but either way, she had a podcast on there. I think it was titled something like Faith Over Fear. And it was a podcast where she did it with Gabby Bernstein, who was the person that I talked about when I first found her. And right after I watched her thing, I got a very clear sign. And ever since then, I really, believed in it, and it really helped me on my journey. So either way, in this podcast, Gabby starts talking about like her journey with fertility, and she ended like a lot of her fertility plays a big role in the books that she has written. And in the first, in one of, I guess the first book is, I can't remember, I think The Universe Has Your Back, she kind of talks about it. And that was kind of the one that I had seen. And then in her next book, she talks, I think it's Super Attractor, she talks about actually conceiving and her whole process of how, kind of like getting her signs, okay? So in the podcast, she says a couple things that really caught my attention immediately because it related to my fertility journey, but it was so specific, and I can't share that part right now because it has to do with something that I just can't, I just don't want to talk about yet, and we will talk about that down the road if we were ever to conceive or whatever. But either way, I know that's no fun to not know. But either way, she said a couple things that immediately caught my attention, and I thought, what in the world? Is that a sign? This is weird. And then, this is even weirder. So she talks about how she felt like she herself had a sign that she would conceive in March. March came, and then she wasn't pregnant, and then she, you know, kind of broke down because she thought for sure she was going to get pregnant in March. And then she asked about something to do, she asked God to give her a sign, and that the sign would be a lily. Very specific. Something to do with a lily. She got her signs. She had, I mean, it was like crazy signs that like, it could only be God. And then, long story short, she come to find out that she was pregnant in April, but that if you did the math, she would have conceived on the last day of March. So after I heard that, like, I thought it was a great story and all this kind of stuff, and it was interesting, and I just didn't think about it again. Well, this past weekend, obviously I've been thinking a lot about my medication and starting the process because, you know, I had to start this weekend, and we had went and helped my sister move in to her new place. And when my sister and I were driving down to like where we were moving her, there was a truck that was passing beside of us, and the whole truck didn't have anything on it, and I just so happened to turn and look, which I don't typically do that, and on the side of the truck was the name of one of our baby boy names that we really love. And I thought, oh God, that's so weird. Like, that is so weird. I'm like, maybe that's a sign. And then, you know, we're on the trip, and then on my way home from the trip, I happened to look on my Pinterest board that I have for like my little miracles, what I call it, for when I have a child. And there was a pin on my board that I really and truly do not remember pinning. And it was a name, and I'm not going to say the name in case we were to ever use it, but within that name, I totally realized that the word was, like, the word lily was in that name. And I swear I have never seen this name before, but once I saw it on my board, I really liked it. But when I saw it, I thought, I do not remember pinning this. And then I realized it was kind of like lily. And I thought, is that another sign? So either way, I feel like I'm getting a lot of signs that this is the right decision and that this is going to have a great outcome. And so I'm staying very hopeful and just really excited for what this journey could potentially lead us to, and just really hopeful that this is the start to our little family. So that's all I have. That's our protocol. That's how I'm feeling right now. The next video will definitely be an update on our next appointment, which will be the ultrasound and the trigger shot. And so I'll let you know my results for what, if I had any follicles or anything like that, and how it looked. And hopefully all will go well and we will be able to move forward with the procedure. So thank you all for watching. Be sure to watch the other videos in this playlist so that you're able to really understand the journey and where we started and where we're going. And yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.